seeing it on this screen, so it's midway there now.
Good sign.
Or personally, Bruce, if they don't see us, they don't see us. It's still a legal meeting without the YouTube thing working.
It's on the screen there, I think I got it.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to December 8th, 2022 Planning Board meeting, delayed version thereof. First item on the agenda is a continued subdivision for Thomas Corrado, 111 Sugar Hill Road, tax map 403, lot 177, zoned agricultural. And Mr. Belanger is here to tell us what we've done recently.
Okay, when we were here last month, I think there were only two items left that the planning board wanted to look at or wanted me to do. One of them was add a note about the existing drilled dug well. It would be agricultural use only. I added the note number 10. And then the other one was reviewed by Steve Keach. And I got his review comments today, I guess, as you guys did, as the board did. I think it's pretty much everything we talked about, plus a little bit more maybe. I didn't print full-size plans.
But to let you know, Steve called me yesterday.
Yeah, I think he emailed me, said he was going to, or?
Yeah.
Oh, he left me a message.
He called me yesterday, said he got this plan, and he said, what were the planning board's concerns? And I told him, he goes, well, I think I need to go out and look at this thing. I said, probably be a good idea to walk down, at least drive down Lindsay Lane and look around and walk
Yep,
the frontage.
all right.
So he said, well, yesterday he was running around another place in southern New Hampshire, because I'll probably be able to get up there tomorrow. It just so happens I was home today, so he called me, we met out there and walked around. And hence the memo, basically. So if you have any questions, I can probably help you explain the memo. Basically, did you find the pipe?
Yes.
I mean, I found the hole.
Well, we
And I
shot,
stuck my head in it, it looked like there's a hole back there.
I
but
shot the top of the pipe.
It
That
looks like it's plugged,
it is completely full.
yeah, the whole way through, probably.
Yeah, yeah, we found that, and on the other side, on the westerly side, I got down to the top of it, and I took a shot on top of it, so we have the alignment, but it's
That's that
totally,
pink flag?
I think it is.
The pink flag,
I left a pink flag there.
there's a gap in the stone wall, and there's a pink flag,
Yeah. I bel-
probably
yeah.
on the butter's property a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you were gonna, or the board was gonna talk to the DPW, I'm not sure if that ever rolled around, or, I know he's new, and he's probably got his hands full.
Yeah, I believe they did speak to Jason, the acting
Yeah,
Public Works
Naomi
Director.
was gonna do that.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess there's some comments that Steve has there about culvert on the northerly driveway, make sure we get a culvert detail in there. I think the shoulder,
Yes.
improve the shoulder, clean the shoulder up from that driveway.
Between the two
Southerly,
Between the two proposed driveways.
yes, that's where I understood reading the memo.
Yes. And put a culvert in the existing driveway.
Okay, I didn't actually know which one he was talking about.
I didn't either when I read it, but I was there, so it helped a little bit. That's the one he's talking
I
about.
didn't see it till like 4, so. It was and I did talk to Steve, I think it was last week, and hopefully I conveyed to him what the board was looking for. I think so.
I think between this and the sidewalk, I think he understands.
Okay, all right.
Basically, once you clean up the shoulder, make a ditch. 2-foot shoulder, a little bit of a ditch, clean up the pipe.
That, now, why is that falling on us, on my
Yeah.
client? That's
You
your,
can't
that's
do
your
the
pipe.
That's
Because you're
town.
increasing the water runoff to it.
No, I'm not increasing anything. That's your
you
pipe.
are.
It doesn't work already.
You're increasing the water, you're increasing right up to that spot.
Yeah, but he can't just go dig up the road and replace the pipe.
No, yes, I didn't say replace the pipe, I said clean up the pipe.
You know, the pipe, you still have to go to Public Works.
Yes.
You get there.
If the pipe needs replaced, it's not on you, it's on Public Works. It's our pipe, we have to replace it.
Yeah,
So are we responsible for cleaning our end of it, and that's it?
As long as you get water flow through it after you do that, yes.
And that's kind of going on the abutters property on the other side of the road. I'm not sure if we really have the right to do that. That's your pipe.
I can ask Steve again, but he thought that it was, we talked about it standing there. And that's what he said, that he thought that you should be able to clean the pipe. And if it needs-
It's our responsibility to clean the town's pipe.
Because you're increasing runoff to the area, and it's your development.
But I think you'd have to get, because there's also statutory requirements that you can't do, private people can't do work on town roads without their approval or getting.
Well, no, they can't.
Yeah,
Right,
so,
you-
and to
yes.
do the ditch would even
He-
have
he-
to.
Yeah, to do the shoulder, to do
Shoulder,
the ditch,
you'd
to
have
do
to
the
get
pipe,
that.
all that kind of stuff, you need a permission from DPW.
So, and I
Yes.
think probably would be hook up with them and have them do the pipe that way,
Have DPW do the pipe.
yeah.
Not sure I agree.
Before we get too far along.
Well, I figure if something happens and
Oh,
that pit
shoot.
pipe,
I'm sorry.
you're cleaning it out or
I
whatever.
gotta appoint you as the
No, wait a
voting
minute,
member.
you can't.
Can't.
There is one missing.
Oh, never mind. You
Okay.
can't vote.
I can't. So I think,
You can talk.
Sorry.
That's okay. I thought of that earlier and forgot again.
that, if that pipe's been in there probably since the year 3. If it's plugged, it's probably an old metal one, and it's probably rotted, so that's probably the only thing that's holding it up is probably the
It's the
stuff
dirt
that's in
slide.
there, so.
It's a, I believe
If
it's a
it
corrugated
collapses,
metal
then it's
pipe.
on them, so. If the town does it, digs it up, replaces it, there's no liability back to them, and I don't think it'd be proper to give them the matching orders.
If you wanna respond to Steve and say something like that, that's fine with me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick with what Steve says. As far as that pipe. I mean, what he's talking about mostly is not very big. The only issue, I guess, would be the pipe.
Would be the pipe
To me.
cleaning it up. The rest of it's just ditch work and opening up the
and
ditch.
they'll do the ditch work while they're there opening up the pipe probably too.
And put the new pipe underneath that existing driveway.
Yeah.
Right, ditch
Well,
work, new
yeah.
pipe in the driveway. That's it, that's really what he's talking about. Just so the public understands, I believe you're the owner across the street from the upper driveway?
No, I am.
You are? Okay.
So if somebody
From,
pulls
wait,
that
from,
pipe,
whoa, back up. From the upper driveway, you're
Right, I'm
the,
McCann, so,
you're the one that had the headlight
yes,
post.
yeah.
From the driveway across the road from you, then going south is what we're talking about to this other proposed driveway. That's the ditch we're talking about. And I understand you're the abutter with the pipe.
yep,
So if you want to talk about the pipe, so what we're proposing is to make a ditch on the applicant's side of the ditch, or the road, basically. 2-foot shoulder and a little bit of a ditch. Clean out that pipe. The water will be from the existing house to this southern proposed driveway. He is proposing a ditch on the upper side of the driveway to take the runoff back behind everybody's house, basically.
back behind my house?
No, across the road from you.
Can I
Come on
take
up
that
here.
little one?
Your house is here, I believe.
Well, that's my upper driveway.
Yes, that's the pipe.
Yep.
So there's, right now, they're proposing a little swale, goes in the culvert, down here. But this culvert gets cleaned out, goes into that culvert. Then there'll also be a ditch here. And the ditch will continue under this existing driveway, and the water would flow that way.
Really? It's gonna go uphill?
Yep,
Well, it's not gonna be uphill when they're done.
they're gonna grade it.
Okay.
They're gonna make a big cut there.
So
They're
if it
operating.
comes across here, what's gonna happen with this catch basin and the pipe that goes down behind my house?
Where's the catch basin?
It's on this side, there's supposed to be a catch basin right on the side there.
Well, if the
And there's a pipe, 6-inch black pipe, that comes out of that and goes down the back of my property.
The town installed that?
I have no idea. It was there before I bought the house.
Okay.
I-
You'd have to
But it's
check.
on my plan, and it's
I remember-
on the
I remember.
town's plan.
I remember seeing it on your septic plan.
Yeah, so you have to check, that would be the responsibility of the highway department to take care of it. They put that there, obviously they
Because
put it there
the
for.
bottom end is 6-inch pipe and it's full of dirt.
Well,
Yeah,
that's, the
so
6-inch
far.
pipe's not gonna handle that water anyway.
Right,
Let's be real.
right. But that's what.
And
it's in
actually, they should have routed it down on the side of the ditch.
Well, who did it?
Instead of saying, well, who knows? who back then.
The 6-inch pipe might have been
Yeah,
previous
so
owner,
there.
who knows?
If you go this way, on my side of the road, this is all up high.
Yeah.
And then it comes down into my driveway and just drops into my
We
driveway.
aren't doing anything over here.
Yeah.
We're not proposing anything here, or he's not.
Right, but I'm just saying, if they did something, just a ditch down there, going down the side of the road, it would come into my driveway, my paved driveway with all the dirt and everything.
Yeah.
Because it does that now.
Yeah, so that's why they put it, so that's probably what their solution was years ago, to put a catch basin in there.
Could be.
Yep.
And they tried to divert it back down to the brook down behind my house.
Which is,
Well, you say they, we don't know if they is
We
the
don't know
town.
who.
We don't know if they is the town.
Somebody had to do
or-
That was
something.
back in '86, is when the plans I have.
yeah, so it could have been, who knows, anybody back then. So that's, again,
But the water from here is not gonna get to your house, because your house is over here.
It's not gonna get to my house, but it's gonna
Higher.
load out that dirt there and that part of the property.
Yes, it could.
unless they keep pump, unless they replace it into the catch basin and divert it again. But that's
When you say catch basin, have you seen this catch
cement,
basin?
it's a cement.
I haven't
catch
dug in there yet, but I could dig in there and find out.
Well, I mean, is it cement? Do you know what it is?
I don't know.
basin. So it could be nothing, it could just be a pipe that's reduced to another pipe,
Or it could be a plastic.
It's a plastic
pipe.
6-inch corrugated pipe that goes down across my
Somebody put,
property.
you know,
And I know in the springtime, halfway down my hill, the water comes out of the ground. So it's like the pipe's plugged from there on.
yep.
But whose pipe is it?
That's right. I've been asking that for years, and nobody can,
Well, we know the one that goes across the road belongs to the town.
Yeah,
The rest of it,
that's
after
the
that.
town's for
yeah.
sure. I can't,
It's sure the town's to here.
Yeah, to the stone wall.
right,
What happened after that? Who knows if,
Could have been anybody put that in there.
right.
They could have put a 5-gallon bucket in there.
it could have been
Pipe.
something to do with this, to put in my septic system way back in the day. Because to divert the water, because you gotta be 75 feet from water
Yep,
for the septic system.
right. Could have been something for that.
Yep.
I think the town ought to take care of clean, straighten that culvert mess out. It's been there, it's filled in.
Well, I say, if you leave it to, and again,
well, backing up from my pocketbook's perspective, why should I pay the town to go out here and clean this culvert out?
well, they're supposed to maintain and repair culverts and replace them. If it's plugged, it's probably an old metal one. If you looked at it, then it's probably an old metal
I believe it's
corrugated.
corrugated metal.
Corrugated metal, so it's probably rotten.
Yeah.
It is corrugated metal?
And I believe the outlet is crushed.
Yeah, so they get
Well, a
crushed.
third of it's gone.
The bottom of it's all gone, I'll lay you odds of that. So they all rot right at the bottom,
Oh, yeah, if it's corrugated metal, it's gone.
it's gone, so
Just
that's,
sitting there with wet dirt in it.
so if you take the dirt out of it, the road will collapse,
Yep.
most likely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a historic culvert that I really think the town ought to,
That's theirs, yeah, it's in there right away, it's in there.
Do you have any idea how big that pipe is?
I believe it's 12-inch, but I'm not sure, because, I mean, I was down probably at least 20, well, you saw the hole, I dug that by hand to find that.
stuck
And
my
I
head
think it
there.
was still angled toward the road, I didn't go any deeper, but I hit the top of it. And the same on the westerly side, I just got to the top of it and called it good enough, because at that point, I'm starting to get on Scott's land.
Yeah.
But I believe I found the end of the, or at least the top of the corrugated pipe with a directional on it. But it's, you know, I'm just guessing it's in pretty poor shape. You know, and that's
Well,
already
I-
running down the road because it doesn't cross there.
Craig,
Yes.
not being able to see over there, you initially talked about a ditch that was gonna divert the water down the hill, I guess to the south. The southerly direction, right, along that side of the road?
you know, we don't,
Yeah,
Yes.
to the last driveway.
headed down towards
Why
Lindsay
can't you
Lane.
just ditch by that culvert and forget it?
You could probably do that too, let it go down along the ditch, you know, there'd have to be culverts under the driveways
Out there.
and head it towards,
You want to write a response to Mr. Keats suggesting those things, and I'll follow up with a phone call to him?
I was kind of hoping to get out of here tonight.
I understand.
This has been going on since maybe June. I mean, if that's what it takes, it's what it takes. We're into December. You know, he's not gonna start anything this year anyway now. What would it be asking? Who's gonna maintain the culvert, or,
Pardon me?
what would I be asking of Steve? Just verification,
I
who
would
should
just-
clean the culvert?
I would say you're gonna agree to do this, you're gonna agree to do this, but the culvert, you're not gonna do it, and yabba do, and I'll follow up with a phone call saying the culvert's probably a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe, and therefore, even said if it's RCP, it's probably all right, if it's corrugated, it's probably junk.
Well, I found, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's corrugated.
I wouldn't doubt that.
I think we saw the ones down the bottom of the hill were during our sidewalk.
Well, the only thing else I can think of to do would be to, I could have a conversation with Steve about, basically, as Chuck mentioned, eliminating that culvert. Forget it, 'cause it's gonna put water in your yard. And we could just fill in the hole you dug, put a ditch right by it.
It's gonna fill in by itself, isn't it?
Have a
Yeah,
ditch go
it'll
down
fill it
towards
myself.
Lindsay Lane.
That throws a lot on us then. Now we've got a drainage ditch going down our lot that you need a.
You already have, you have a,
Well, yeah, we're catching some of our own runoff. Now you're asking us to take the road's runoff.
well, the
And
driveway.
who's gonna maintain that?
Your plan shows,
Yeah, we do. We show it going down there.
Right.
Yeah, we're catching the additional what we're causing. But now we're solving the town's problem.
you're proposing on this plan to catch the ditch water.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you complaining about?
All of it, catching all of it. And now you've got an
On
easement,
this plan, you're proposing to catch all of it.
I'm talking from 2 driveways, not
Oh,
the
okay.
entire run.
Right, you were gonna, this one here.
Yeah, that's not our problem above. Now we're catching everything
Well,
above.
this is your problem. This
So now the
house-
town's now gonna need an easement that they're gonna maintain.
Okay, back up. If you don't do anything to the culvert, and you don't put a ditch here, you're gonna be increasing the flow to the downstream butters.
Yeah.
So you gotta do something.
Yeah, we agreed to doing the
So
ditch.
put this, okay, then back up then. If you put this ditch in, that solves your problem.
Solves your problem.
Solves your problem.
Solves your problem too.
Great.
I gotta talk to my client.
I kinda figured that was gonna happen this afternoon when I was out there with Steve Keach.
The what?
Do you have to talk to your client? I mean, I don't see how else, I don't know how else you're gonna solve your problem without solving our problem. I mean, you don't have to make it, you don't have to solve the problem, you gotta make it so it's not worse. But if your solution is to intercept the water here, that's,
So you want me to contact Steve, get his feedback on bypass the culvert, the existing 12-inch, running it down the ditch we're gonna build along the side of the road, take a left, that's gonna run into the property. That's what you're asking me to do with Steve,
I
right?
can do that. I can contact Steve and see if it's okay, but somehow we gotta propose it to him.
There's not much of a ditch there now.
There's no ditch.
No ditch there now.
There
Sitting
should be.
beyond our
There
property,
should
and it
be.
kinda erodes a ditch
Yeah,
in.
there should be a ditch on the town side.
The ditch is all the.
It's all filled in.
Decades of sand being piled up, and that's formed the edge of your ditch.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's filled in by the stuff between the road and the stone wall.
Formed a windrow instead of a ditch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get anywhere unless we do something, right?
Did you show the 15-foot easement? Yes, there it is.
So, do you think the town's gonna wanna see an easement for that?
Wait, we got that 15-foot one on
No,
here
no,
already,
when you
right?
take a left and head east,
No,
so they're not gonna have any responsibility in maintaining that.
no. Town's not going an easement on that. We're not gonna wanna go on that guy's driveway and maintain that ditch.
Okay.
Let's open up the public. I got a thought here. Anybody from the public like to speak? Anybody else from the public like to speak? I think.
Now, you were
Come,
saying.
come to the microphone, please. Just state your name, because everything's gonna be taped off
Sorry.
YouTube.
I'm Scott White, I'm a butter across the street.
Yes.
Now, you're saying it's gonna come down to the second driveway culvert, and then it's gonna turn in on the property.
Yes.
Now, if it turns in on the property, where's that water ending up?
In the wetlands, clear in the back.
Okay, so that's gonna come down from the wetlands, would come down to Dave Nichols' house, right?
No, it's gonna go around Dave Nichols' house to Lindsay Lane.
Okay, does he know that, or is that for sure? We
believe
know
it.
that's gonna happen?
I believe he does, because he walked by today, and we discussed it briefly with him.
And if it doesn't go that way,
Well, if he
it
builds
comes under that first driveway, and it comes out, it's gonna come across the street.
It won't come out.
No,
It's going out into the woods out back.
yeah,
Okay.
the driveway's gonna block it from going across that driveway.
Okay, because, I mean, way it is now, coming down the road, it does come because the road canters towards my
There's gonna be
my
a-
driveway.
There's gonna be a ditch in there that's not there now.
Right.
Okay. All right, I'm just asking questions because
That's-
the way the water travels now, it's into my driveway. Off the road, so I mean, and I have to,
That's the purpose of the roadside ditch, to keep it over there.
okay, all right.
Anybody else like to speak? Seeing nothing, I'll close it for public comment. How would the board feel of a conditional approval based on Steve Keach agreeing to the grading plan? And how would the applicant feel to that?
Well, I'd rather come to another meeting.
Pardon me?
I would rather come back.
Okay.
And then just go with what,
Rather than play with Steve Keach's game, you could really come back here?
well, yeah, at least give you the opportunity to discuss it if we don't like it.
Okay.
I mean, does that sound reasonable? Are we gonna ask for an extension?
Yep.
We having another meeting this month?
I don't wanna do it again this month. If we can go to January, I'd rather do that.
Okay,
Just to make sure it gets too tight in time.
okay. You wanna continue this until first meeting in January?
I do. I mean, if it
I'm still
matters.
trying to get your conditional approval here.
What if we don't like what Steve comes back with?
And I know what you're saying, nothing's gonna happen between now and then anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I still got bounds to set. Optimistically.
So if I'm reading Steve's memo correctly, typical Steve Keach memo, he says an awful lot in the first paragraph. Number one is just the site conditions. Number two is all about the road culvert. Number three talks about the two driveways and this ditch. And then he goes on to say, I moved my hand so I lost it. We recommend the planning board requires the condition of approval, the applicant to reconstruct a 2-foot wide graded shoulder together with a graded roadside swale beyond the existing edge of pavement from one driveway to the other. The resulting roadside swale will then be effectively direct roadside drainage through both the existing, okay. So what if we just say, you do everything to keep Steve Keach's memo and forget the culvert? And don't go back to Keach. I'm asking the board and him all at the same time.
I think that'd be the way to go.
Pick Chuck's idea up, ignore the culvert, let it silt back
Below
up
it.
again, make your shoulders, make a ditch, and it all goes down to the lot ones, whatever the lower one is.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, yeah.
Does that make sense to the board?
Yeah?
Because that's what Steve's saying in these 2 pages, is to replace the culvert and build a ditch, and make that work.
But
So
Public
we
Works,
just don't replace the culvert, don't deal with the culvert.
yeah, Public Works are gonna have to do it anytime, but who knows what their schedule will be, so.
Well, it doesn't,
Public
it's
Works-
not used now anyway.
If the ditch works, then you don't need it, they're not,
You don't
I
need
mean,
Right.
town,
Obviously, it hasn't been.
they haven't spent
working.
money on it in 30 years, they're not gonna spend money on it tomorrow.
Well, where it's gonna benefit is the people south of us, because they get where the wash comes from, and
Yeah, Nichols and the other
One above it,
person.
yeah.
Right.
so
Yeah,
we're
no.
picking up pretty much everything and putting it in that
Back here.
ditch out back. If
Right.
the board's good with that, I think we could do that.
Discussion? I'm good. Chuck, it was your idea.
I'm good, I'm good.
I just carried it a little further. Make sense?
It does,
I think it's the best of both worlds. Did you make a motion?
I make a motion, we,
Before you make a motion. The drainage easement document, we're going to have that recorded, reviewed by Laura,
All right.
and recorded simultaneously, I hope, with the plan.
Okay. Coming from Dunbar, they're a little more, I don't want to say paranoid, but do you want to make the building permits contingent about getting the ditch work and stuff done?
Yes. I mentioned that to Bruce on the phone today and I forgot.
You wanna include
it'll be
that?
on the building permits, I mean, so when they go in there and start doing site work, they can do that before
Well,
a
does it
building
need to be a
permit.
condition of approval, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, no, I don't want a conditional approval.
Well, condition of the building permits, for the building
It has
permits,
to be done
Yes.
prior to the building permit.
okay,
Or either that, prior
just to make sure it gets done.
Right,
Prior to getting,
COs or whatever,
no, prior to building
building
permit.
permit.
I mean, they can move equipment and start building driveways without a building permit, so the
Yeah,
equipment will
they
be
can
there.
dig
with it.
holes, they can do all that
Right,
stuff.
you can do an awful lot without a
Without a
building
building
permit, and
permit.
that gets you to build a ditch.
Yeah, but will they? It's, you know, you gotta kinda hold people's feet to the fire sometimes.
Yes, you do.
Okay,
So we're gonna have a note added to the plan saying that the roadside swale that's shown on this plan is gonna be,
And that no, it needs to be on the, plan that gets recorded.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
so you need to revise the grading plan to get rid of the clean inlet. Right?
Okay.
You show a ditch going the whole way down. Then a note on the plan saying that prior to receiving building permits, the grading shown on the proposed driveway grading plan has to be completed. And we need a document for the easement. Is that it?
And bounds need to be set, you guess a bounds still,
Oh, yeah, you got bounds to set. You're probably gonna have to bond the bounds along the road. At least two of them.
they're gonna get demolished doing the ditch.
What's that?
Aren't these gonna get wiped out with the ditch?
You can't keep it well.
Yeah, that one's gonna get wiped out.
Yeah, that
Sure.
was.
That one,
Yeah, that's gonna go
That's in
too.
a stone wall.
yeah, it should be there, but who knows?
Who's gonna sign off on the ditch work? Is that the DPW?
And they're gonna come out and look at the driveways anyway, so you get the
Yeah.
driveway permits for those.
It's gonna have to be DPW.
All right, but they're the ones that are gonna be satisfied with the ditch work, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do it at the same time you get
so
the,
completed to their satisfaction.
I already forgot one, didn't I?
what's that?
I don't know, I forgot it.
Easement,
Easement,
the ditch.
the ditch, oh. Revise the grading plan. Note on the subdivision plan.
Do we want to, say you can either have the bounds set when the ditch is done or before building permits, or? There's only two, right? Those two bounds only.
Yeah, these two bounds only.
Want to do that?
Do what?
That before the building permits get issued, those two bounds be in, so you don't have to bond it, you can do it with the ditch.
That'd work, yeah, sure.
I mean, there are two right there, that'd be pretty obvious. We'll put a note on the plan for that.
What's that?
You wanna put a note on the plan?
Okay, yeah,
for
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Basically, the front bounds for lot 177 to be set. No, not, you don't need a building permit on 77.
77-1 and (77-2), what,
To be set prior to,
building permits.
And the rest of them will set before you sign the Mylar, right?
right. Want to do that, or you want me to do this?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Make a motion, we conditionally approve the Thomas L. Coronado subdivision on Sugar Hill South. Written by Jock Belanger, dated June 30th, revised
11:10.
11/10.
Yes.
If I give you this one, Bruce, it's got today's date on it. It was revised this morning. I put note 10 about the well on there.
Okay. Yes, I saw that one.
Yeah, no, 10 was on the little one.
Yeah. No revision.
Oh, it's on the boundary, subdivision sheets. That's what it is.
12:08.
Okay, revised
12/8/22.
12/08/22. The following conditions, under the following conditions, the easement docs be prepared and reviewed by the town council. Said review paid for by the applicant, and to be recorded simultaneously with the Mylar. The ditch be regraded per Steve Keach's memo dated today,
Today.
December 8th, with the exception of the
No, the ditch is right.
the ditch regrading, but the portion of Steve Keach's memo regarding the cross culvert is not applicable. And the bounds the two front bounds be set that are gonna get disturbed while the ditch work is being done prior to COs of the first new house, the building permit of the first new house. And the ditch regrade be done prior to the building permit for the first new house. What's that?
Note on the subdivision that you have to do the grading per the grading plan.
Oh, yeah, add a note on the subdivision plan, the recorded Mylar saying the grading's to be done per the grading plan dated June 30th.
June 30th. Oh,
There's no revision on that one. And the front bounds, we talked about that already, right?
okay.
So that's it.
Read it back?
Want me to read them back? Can't read it from here.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Thank you.
Better than I thought. You want any of these back? Like that one?
Sure.
You got my notes?
Yeah, it's right there.
I don't know if I got them right, but
No, can't have that. I was going to.
Watch the YouTube.
Yeah, watch the YouTube, it'll work.
Pass that down.
Don't want Naomi to lose that. Second item on the agenda, Pine Island Realty LLC. Subdivision on 351 South Stark Highway, tax map 109, lot 21, in the residential zone. We've had a lot of communication between myself and the town attorney and
Yeah.
Naomi and all kind of people.
Good. I think.
Can be, can not be. What have you determined on this cemetery location?
Well, we haven't.
Okay,
We've done, as you probably know, we've done ground penetrating radar in 3 different, well, 2 locations, one expanded, 1 location. As you probably know, the deed doesn't tell a location, so the only way if we're gonna determine a location with no evidence would be a boundary line agreement with the town. But both parties have to kind of agree to the location on that.
that was kind of one of my thoughts, but we don't really know the town owns it.
Yeah,
So how can the town sign a boundary line agreement?
but it's been in the town's name on the tax roll, hasn't it, for years and years?
I don't know that, but it's been on the town's tax rolls, yes.
Yeah, so, I guess that's an attorney question, if if it's been on the town, as the town owning it for years. I mean, as we know, we don't necessarily determine ownership, we determine location of property, and this one, we can't determine the location of the property, so it's given us everything.
Which goes back to the, I believe you guys supplied the board with the Bill Drescher letter from 2017?
There was something that Chuck Sargent, who's the owner of Pine Island, he had that in his, found that in his file.
Yeah, it was something my son had, yeah.
Yeah, and Bill suggested then, and I remember I suggested then, to do a quiet title on the property. You could define the cemetery and the quiet title through court action and the access to it. And if that was done 5 years ago, you've been done 3 years ago. That's the easiest solution, or cleanest solution, I shouldn't say easiest, that's the cleanest.
Pinpoints it?
The court says, well,
The rights to
it's.
whoever would
it's
still
not-
be
It's not
there.
a simple process. The attorney tries to research and find the owner of it, and then you notify the owners if you find them. If you don't, you convince the court you tried like crazy to find the owners, and you can't find them, and you say, here's where we think the boundary line is, and yeah, it's fixed. If the court agrees, it's fixed. I've been through 3 of them, and they all take 9 months to a year. When it's done, it's done. It's,
The problem is that the town has stamped their name across the website, through all kinds of things. And so it's kind of like the boundary line agreement, because the town is basically proclaiming it. And the town could very well have done that, because there's a law in the state that says that if there's an abandoned burial ground, that they can take it over to make sure that it gets protected. Quite frankly, that must have been what they did at one point in time, many, many moons ago.
if you can prove that, then we know the town owned it. But right now, you're the applicant. You have to tell us, you have to prove things to us. We aren't gonna be proving anything to you. That's not my job. I don't get paid for that, literally. But I mean, you have to present us with an application saying, here's my property and here's what I wanna do. Right now, we don't have a here's my property. I don't know where the cemetery is. You don't know where the cemetery is. It could be 20 by 20, it could be 3 acres for all I know. I assume it's not 3 acres, but it could be. Until a cemetery is known, how do we go forward? It's the same
Well,
thing.
a lot of towns, as you know, probably, I mean, there's notes and stuff put on plans to say that any rights that remain, and in the area we protect and,
How do you know the lot sizing works if you don't know how big the cemetery is?
well, yeah, I mean,
Could be a
we,
2 acre lot, 2 acre cemetery. Could be.
I don't know
doubt
that
it.
we're ever gonna resolve that, though.
Quiet title, you got it resolved. The size of the cemetery, the location of the cemetery,
Yeah, even looking at this,
That's
from
what- that was-
the one that you guys presented
That
to
was-
us the last time, it
that
says
was just-
conveyance of instruments reviewed. The last time there was anything done was a guy named Jay Rogers. It got conveyed from, and so he technically, according to this, was the titled owner. That was in the title stuff that the attorney did in 2017.
He never owned
That's a
cemetery.
property, though, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
2016, but it said there's conveyance of instruments, so that, who was the original way back when, all the way up through.
Yeah, those, I think those deeds are just referring to the actual property itself that he owned, that Chuck owns now. It's not this it's not the actual cemetery. It's just saying it's reserving the rights of the
right, so
cemetery.
from well, either way. Either way, we know, you don't believe, I don't believe that Chuck owns a cemetery. So somebody else owns it, so therefore it's an abutting property line. So how can we approve a plan we don't know where the boundary is?
There is a recorded plan from the abutter out back with a licensed surveyor that put his stamp on the thing and showed it exactly
On your property?
on our property.
But he surveyed the abutting property.
And that was included in it,
He didn't survey your property.
all part of the recorded plan, so he had to show it.
You lost me. Either way, Scott has to show it then, on the plan. Somebody has to show it in the plan with meets and bounds, with a 25-foot non-disturbed buffer, with a setback, et cetera. For us to,
And of course, with the town owning it, the town needs to work with us to do this too. And it's been difficult.
if you can show the town owns it, we will,
Well, I mean, I'm just obviously going by the tax, I mean, and I think that's what it will come down to, is that it's been under the town's name for a long, long time.
I don't know that, but.
Yeah.
I saw
An
the
attorney
tax
would-
map, I don't know how long it's been there.
Yeah,
Well, it's like 20 years at least. So at 20
Could well
years,
be.
that's water's right, so I mean, even.
No. If I would have, town would have to file for adverse or
Yeah.
file for quiet title to get it.
There's a statute for that, for abandoned
There's a-
cemetery.
Yeah, there is a statute of abandoned cemeteries, I don't know what that is right offhand.
Oh, I should, and I can't remember, because there's another one pending.
So are you saying that if there is any evidence at all of a point on that lot that that shows some kind of a burial, that's all it takes?
No, I'm saying somebody has to stamp a plan showing the meets and bounds around of the whole lot, excluding the cemetery. I'm not gonna look at the research, I'm not gonna look at the physical evidence, I'm not gonna look at anything except for a stamp and various distances. But if you don't define the lot, if you don't define the cemetery, how are you saying you're defining the parcel?
I guess it comes down to how was it defined on the tax maps too, which
No,
nobody's
it
ever
comes
gonna
down, it comes
know.
down to our subdivision regulations, saying you have to define the parcel with meets and bounds.
Yeah,
And you're not. Because you don't have meets and bounds in the cemetery. And that's not part of your parcel. I've been through the quiet title, like I said, 3 times, and not with a cemetery, I'll admit that. But it just takes time, and if you'd have done it 5 years ago, you'd be done a long time ago. That's what the Bill Drescher letter said, was to do a quiet title.
it wasn't him, he didn't own it at the time.
Well,
And who would be our point of contact, I guess, at the town to, if that's the direction that Chuck decides to go, obviously we have to work with the town to
Yeah, you
do
have to
that.
talk to Naomi.
you mean the direction of the quiet title?
Well, obviously he has to hire an attorney and do all that stuff,
Right.
but somebody at the town, obviously quiet title, that town has to be involved with it because it says it's their
Right, yes.
property.
Yes, that would be Naomi. Town administrator, yes. I'm sure Naomi.
And what does that, and to be honest, I've never gone through that process in my years, and is it the select board that finally signs off on it?
The quiet title?
Yeah,
No, the court.
the court, so both the owner and the town go and
The time I've done it, it's the, The 3 times I've done it, it's basically, I gave all my deed research to an attorney and it was
Yeah.
done. To be blunt, I didn't do anything. But there was a document recorded, that the court ordered to be recorded
Yeah.
with the plan that would show the boundary. If you have a good title attorney, I'm sure he knows how,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's done them. He or she, sorry.
And I do, but they said it should be as simple as an agreement with the planning board and showing it on the
Well,
plan.
it's not an agreement with the planning board, because we don't own anything.
Well, not so much an agreement with the planning board as much as the planning board being able to say that by putting a notation on the plan, blocking that area out, that it should be fine.
Is it 2 acres or 1 acre or 20 by 20? You don't know. You can show an area of 20 by 20, you don't know if it includes the whole area. Nobody knows. At least, to my knowledge, nobody knows. Somebody might know.
So why-
Somebody
why is
thought
it-
they knew at one point.
I mean, the town has it as that, on the,
Yes, and it says on the town, it's not for boundary purposes, it's for taxation and planning purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know tax maps don't mean much for boundary lines. I hope we all know that. But until you have a defined boundary, how can we say, yes, this lot meets subdivision regulations? And like I said, there's a 25-foot buffer, there's side setbacks.
And I think what went awry on this is that the town actually put their name on it, said they owned it, when it should have just been an easement in the deeds, saying the family reserves the right to access the property, like most cemeteries are. Without knowing where that property was, the town decided that they owned it and put a boundary around it. Just,
I'm doing a job.
but I get it.
I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, like Tuesday night, I was in Temple. I'm doing a 4-lot line adjustments and a 2-lot subdivision. I did all the research and I found a 1-acre piece in the middle of the property that Alvin Holt Jr. excluded from the deed to my client. Alvin Holt Jr. died in '62. Like you said, we don't determine ownership. All I know is my client doesn't own this 1-acre piece. It doesn't show up on any tax map, doesn't show up anywhere. All the budding surveys just kind of go there and leave it alone. My client's gonna, I think he's gonna try to find the heir, hopefully buy it, but it's the same situation. We don't know, his case, we know where it is. Your case, you don't know where it is.
so is the quiet title basically making it so that I own the property?
No. It defines the limit of your ownership. Depending on how it's presented, it should define the location of the burial ground and the access to it.
Quiet title is obtaining quiet title.
Well, it's cleaning up the title of your property, yes. Because you have an exclusion in your deed, you can't figure out where it is. So that's the whole purpose of the quiet title. To determine where the exclusion in your deed is and the access to it.
Or cleaning it up if anybody has rights
Right.
to it, like right-of-ways and stuff. Which this isn't the case, the way you just explained it, would be to define the location of that cemetery, which we can't do.
And you should define the access to it at the same time, or create it, whichever way you want to look at it.
Well, I don't know that you can do that. I think that you then,
Well, we're not doing it, the court is doing it.
no, but.
No, well, you're asking me to do that on a plan, is what we're saying, is to define a location of that cemetery, which we can't define the location of that cemetery. So really, it comes back to a boundary line agreement between the town, if the town owns it, and the owner of the property.
And the accepting and reserving the right-of-way thing is irrelevant, because if there becomes 3 lots there, each of those 3 lots would still have it in their deeds, that the right to pass and repass to get to the cemetery.
But if you're gonna go to court and do a quiet title, why not define the easement? The access to the cemetery? It would clean it up a lot easier, real quick, rather than saying all 3 owners may have access rights. Someone may have access rights to the cemetery.
All 3 of their properties,
Right.
yeah. So you just have one.
Just get it cleaned up, the cemetery is this big, the access is here. put it on a lot line, so you don't have to worry about it, it's not, someone takes somebody's way.
Craig,
Yes,
could this cemetery be reused, or used again? Once they define the size of it and the location and access?
as far as I'm concerned, the owner can go bury somebody there now if he's allowed to.
Yeah.
Only
Whoever the
if it's-
owner is.
Only if it's whoever, it's the descendants of
originally-
whoever reserved
Heirs
it
there,
in the
yeah.
first place.
That's right.
That's what I said, the owner of the cemetery.
So at the last meeting, there was discussion about, and I forget the lady's name, but the selectwoman was gonna take somebody out there, and we got a phone call saying that they were going out to look at it with some elderly lady. We haven't heard anything about that, if she went out there and looked and could figure out kind of where it was.
We haven't heard of anybody
Sherry,
either.
Sherry, we haven't heard anything from her either.
Chuck got a call that day that they were headed out there. So there should be some communication on that. And then there was an attorney that submitted a letter. Is that privileged? Can we see that, or?
No.
No.
That's why we went to
Okay.
private,
Okay.
not public.
Craig, one other question, there was you alluded to a J. Rogers on some document.
Yeah, it was, the lady that went out was a Rogers.
Judy,
Oh, Judy Rogers, her husband.
She's like 90, 95 or
Her
something.
husband just passed, but,
I didn't see her, but I know that the name was
he
Rogers.
worked in the cemeteries for 30, 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
locating,
And her memory, I guess, is good enough. She said she remembered where it was, and she was gonna go out with the select woman, so.
You know, that was between the select
she couldn't shed
person.
any light on,
You haven't
Won't hear
talked,
from her.
you haven't
We
talked
didn't,
to
we
her
didn't
since.
hear from her.
well, I thought it was Sherry.
You know, Sherry went
Either
with
one.
her.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really follow up with her because of the fact that we were actually scheduled to go see the selectmen and discuss it, and we got a phone call that afternoon that said that it's not up to the selectmen, it's for here. And that it should have been able to be taken care of with boundary agreements or whatever. It was a matter of chatting with you guys and coming up with a solution.
While the tax map says the town owns it, I don't know that the town owns it. I guess the best way to put that. The piece in Temple I was talking about, the tax map said my client owned it, he didn't. I don't really know who owns it either, but
Probably unlikely the town owns it, isn't it? You think it's likely?
Not necessarily.
I wouldn't think, I mean,
There's cemeteries, there's another cemetery that the town
Probably
has
not
a record
unless
of, but we don't own it, and you gotta file some stuff with the state to turn
unless
around.
the
I was gonna say there's a-
family deeded it to this town or something, probably.
Well,
I'm just saying that's probably the only way the
there's
town
no
would own
deed,
it.
but the thing is, there's no,
There's something, there is an RSA, and I wish I could remember what
I
it is.
could too.
But the town can, just like the selectmen laying out a road on a map, if they know that there's a cemetery there, they can lay it on the map and they can protect it, so that way nobody disturbs it.
yeah, but there's a court process that goes, you have to go through for that statutorily.
There was no court process, it's strictly posting notifications, and it's no more than like a 2-month at the most.
It's a little more than that, but.
well, it's gotta be posted, some record has to be put someplace, whether it's registry of deeds or somewhere. Because you're suddenly changing title to land. So it has to be a document someplace.
Does that happen when they, like lay out a road on a map?
You're supposed to.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's a return of layout, the DOT records the return of layout. But I don't see how we can go forward unless we have a meets and bounds in the cemetery.
So, is there any, so does that mean that you're taking the application, not taking the application, prolonging it?
It means that one of two things, I'm gonna ask you to withdraw the application, or I'm gonna make a motion to reject your application as incomplete fairly soon. Whichever you wanna prefer. In 2017 or thereabouts, it was withdrawn, by the way, after this very discussion almost.
Well, and some chat with my son, there was more to it than that.
Yeah, there was. But Bill Dresser's letter was pretty much it. We could probably take a 5-minute recess and let him talk to his client about all this,
Yeah.
if we want. Okay? See you back here at a little after 8:30.
Okay.
Naomi says we're live, so
Pardon me?
Naomi says we're live.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's live streaming.
Since we're taking a recess,
Who
I'm
went
gonna
with Judy Rogers? These people?
Sherry.
Oh, Sherry, oh,
It's at 65 things.
she's in her 90s, huh?
Yeah. Seems like yesterday she was sitting in the office over there, right?
That's why you're having fun. Yeah, I know there's another cemetery in town up there. They get found somehow. It's a long, it's not that easy. It's a long process for the town to take it, be responsible for it.
Well, there's little cemeteries, people had family plots, all these farms had family plots.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they did.
Like I said, I remember, and you can see it still. You drive over through Epping and go down the old 101 or Troop 27, whatever they call it now, and you drive down there from the four corners and off of 125, and you take a right headed towards Brentwood, Exeter, and you come up the top of the hill just beyond the Star Raceway. And on the right-hand side, there's a nice little ranch house there, and there's a stone area, and in it, there's a big granite marker, and it says Wigan on it. And I'm going, somebody, and its house has been sold 2 or 3 times, I know, over the number of years, and that's their little family cemetery right there. I said, well, and once it's there, it's there. I guess they could move it, but it's a long, drawn-out process.
Probably, at that point, it gets expensive too.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
The woman here, is it me?
It's warm in here.
Yeah, open up the window.
Here.
Everybody will be excited.
Yeah.
You need to get some electric tape.
For what?
Selectmen.
I know. She's supposed to get a new one. I think they're hoping I'm gonna run again.
I think electric tape would be a better solution.
I
Cheaper.
think Naomi keeps hoping I'm gonna run again this next
I can understand that.
series.
She's not the only one.
And I'm sure there's some that would be glad if I didn't.
Probably.
Just as long as you don't run for town clerk again. I don't know what you were thinking.
I'll tell you after we're off the air.
Where are you going tomorrow?
I'm not running for town clerk.
No, gonna
We
run
gotta
for-
go put a system in Newcastle.
Oh,
Newcastle.
we're right down there on the water.
Yeah.
That's a fun area.
It's short, it won't take you long.
Oh, you're gonna put it in tomorrow?
Yeah.
Whereabouts? In Newcastle.
Wentworth Road.
Oh, right over by the,
You back too quick?
A little bit, because one member just went to the restroom. So yes, you're a little bit too quick.
that's, I had to do it, put a driveway in there. Right, right next to it, and it was all ledge, because they moved the driveway from one side of the house to the other, this old house, and I'm going, it was all ledge. I'm going, oh, this is good.
Yeah, I
And,
don't know why the driveway was over there.
yeah, and it wasn't really suitable for it, so they had to, and they still had to jump through all the hoops, because the driveway was, I think, 3 feet from the property line, or 2 feet from the property line. It was tricky. Well, the owners were happy, the town was happy, because they had to come out into the town road, but that worked to their advantage, because I also got it so they could put their new water and sewer line in as part of it, so.
So your client must be like the one I have in
Site plan
Long Island,
usually.
Molten Borough.
Yeah.
They have a shared driveway. The butter has a driveway around. They don't want to use the shared driveway, even though it's on their property. So they're gonna put a driveway over their septic system to get to the house. There's worse things you can do with a
Yeah.
septic system, but it's a pump system.
Oh,
Well, luckily, my client built the house about 2 feet high, so he may not have to pump.
yeah,
But we gotta do a whole new design.
yeah,
And of course, now you gotta do a whole new shoreline permit,
oh, yeah.
because
You can run over mine, you know.
you can have rubber presby's too.
Yeah, you gonna put one of those on the driveway?
But they, yeah, this one was interesting, because the neighbor, the abutter, had a house, and they came out and said, wow, you know, you're gonna ruin my house and ruin my driveway, and they go, no. She said, the woman came out and said, wow, this house dates back to the Revolutionary War, it was used as a barracks and a eating facility for the soldiers. And my question was, which side? She looked at me and says, what do you mean? I said, was it British, or was it the, you know, colonial soldiers there, you know? He goes, I don't think that's any, so it was the British, I'm Irish. Up the revolution. She turned around and the guy I was doing the work for, he looked at me, I thought he was gonna swallow his cigar.
So what's the word I want to resume? Okay, we can resume the
Here
meeting
we are.
at 8:33 or thereabouts. Okay, gentlemen,
So we'd like to ask for a continuance till January so we can consult with an attorney. The fees have been paid for the application and notifications have gone out, and it's been going on for
I think it's January
3
12th.
months.
January 12th, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Or do you wanna
You can
go,
go later,
okay, so maybe the
the later January one.
26th.
26th?
With the holidays and everything.
The only question I have is, when did you submit and all that kind of stuff?
The application hasn't
We
been
haven't
accepted.
accepted it, so what does it matter, does
We
it?
have to accept it within 65 days of being submitted.
You have to make a decision within 65 days of accepting the application. You
No,
just
we
have to hear the application 30 days after getting it accepted to the
We
town.
heard
I'll
it.
take your word for it. I
Yeah,
thought we had to do
65.
something.
Yeah, the application unfortunately hasn't
Well,
been
you can,
accepted, so
and
that clock
then you can
hasn't.
give it an extension
kicked
for
in.
I
45.
don't think we need it. We don't need it, because
No,
we haven't started any clock yet.
No,
Okay. You make a motion, want me to?
I'll make a motion, we continue this meeting till, this application until January 26th.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, gentlemen, see
Thank
you
you.
in a month and a half. Have a good holiday.
You too.
Last and certainly not least, we have a conceptual hearing for Chris CAK Realty. Applicant Ryan Lunderville, and I think this is in the Langtots Plaza, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. We got this, okay.
which one is Unit 9? Is it the one
Go on
behind Dunkin'
the-
Donuts? or-
And if you're looking at, yeah, it's the one near the Dunkin' Donuts, if
Okay.
you look at the building on the far right.
That's what we were discussing, okay.
It was the daycare.
Yes, correct. It was a daycare, and from what I understand, it was a Curves before that, so it was already an exercise
Yes.
type of
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just reverting back to the similar use. Not a whole lot needs to go on with it. We're not doing anything to the outside. We'll do a sign application later on. Inside, there's just like a partial wall to be removed and 2 sinks.
To be honest, I don't care about the inside.
Yeah, so outside's not gonna change, so it should be pretty simple.
How many employees you gonna have?
It's just me.
Okay.
So it's a startup, so it's just me for the time being.
How many could you have in that space, do you know?
I'd have to look, I don't think we're under, I think I'd have to talk to the fire department about what their maximum is.
How many employees do you think you could have effectively in that space?
I'm not looking at any in the first year or 2. But in that size space, I could probably have up to, I would say roughly 6 or 7 in that space.
Okay. How many clients in there at that point?
Each class, I would say they're definitely less than 30 per class, so they're getting time plus any parents that are staying.
And you only do one class at a time?
Correct.
I don't think it's much more of a, I don't think it's any increase at all over the previous uses.
No, I don't think so either.
No, 'cause
Yeah,
they-
that's where he was going. I think that's where Bruce
It
was
is.
going.
Yeah, because they had,
The daycare had a lot of parking issues.
Right.
You're not gonna have parking issues by yourself, and however many tenants you have, you're not gonna have near the parking issues that
Yeah, not in that
daycare
space,
had.
so.
No.
Especially because they're not all coming at the same time.
You're not
They'll
gonna
be
have
coming
kids
and
running
going,
around
so.
outside in the playground. That's not gonna happen, I think.
Time frame?
We're,
After school, evening, or?
it would definitely be after school hours. Looking at starting first classes at 3:30.
yeah,
So it's even less.
that shouldn't even interfere with anything, especially,
Yeah, and we'd be out of there by 8 PM probably,
Yeah.
so.
I think the house will be closed by then. They close at 7.
I personally don't think he needs anything from us.
I don't
Does
either.
anybody else?
No?
Did you need anything else from us for the state? Is there state licensing involved, or?
Nope, there's no state licensing. That program doesn't require it. It's not
Okay.
running an after-school program or childcare. It's just a come-and-go kind of program. So, just
Okay.
want to make sure the use would be approved and everything, and make sure I'm dotting all my i's, crossing all my t's.
When do you hope it open?
Hoping in January. So,
Good. In that case, I wish you good luck.
all right, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it.
That was easy.
Yep.
Might try to make things easy if I can.
I appreciate that. The last two weren't quite that easy. But that one there, well, yeah, never mind. I'll shut up now. Microphones and things.
Hush.
Do we have anything else to talk about, gentlemen?
A question on the sign down in the downstairs bathroom. It says, "Do not drink."
It's not
Is
potable
that
water.
for water, or
Yes.
just generally speaking?
It's the water.
Why, was there something in the medicine cabinet I didn't notice?
I didn't use it. I do drink once in a
It's
while.
not, since they say it's not potable water.
I quit drinking 5 years ago, so I didn't have an issue with that.
It says, other business, possible zoning amendments for 23 warrant. When do we have to start that process? I got a couple ideas.
I have a corrective question on that, too.
Corrective question on? On what?
Well, the town passed a private road piece in our zoning
Yes.
that's still standing there that's not legal, which needs to be removed, because we do have a process now whereby by town council has given us a way for that to be approved or not approved. Because right?
With the flow chart.
With that flow chart, yeah.
Well,
But we
Yeah.
have.
you could do
so-
two things,
so
we could do two
it's-
things. We could take our article out that we put in, or got approved, or we can revise the flow chart.
But the conflict isn't because that piece got approved, there's another part of the document that says it's prohibited.
Right.
So you either need to remove the approved one
Or the prohibited one.
or the prohibited one. So that needs to be clarified, and that's 3 years old.
Do you have an idea on how to fix it?
No,
No?
other than putting a warrant article forward to say,
To remove, yeah.
to remove this
Delete.
part of the document so that this is permissible, or remove this because we don't want it permissible.
See, that is an idea on how to fix it, but.
Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. And I'm not sure if we have in our possession
The latest,
the updated document that has that language in it,
probably not.
or that if it was ever added to. So that's a discussion for possible zoning amendments.
I'm not sure that all that stuff has been located.
I agree.
Sounds like we don't have it. It sounds like we don't have it.
And then the other part was, did we finalize our wetlands project?
No,
No.
And that's another item that we've had on
Love to
the
get done.
docket for discussion, which would fall under that same question before us.
and a few of us tried hard to
Right.
wrap that up one year, it didn't happen.
And I keep bringing it up every year.
Well,
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I thought you were slamming me there for a minute.
no, I didn't say anything.
No, I know.
No, I know you tried to bring it up. The other thing is, we're going to try to put forward something for the master plan again.
I think we have to.
For a warrant article?
If we don't put an article up again, we're crazy.
Yep.
The,
Where is that says there's no building permits can be
Too bad we didn't
private
put
road?
that in the,
What does that come under? What
we
section?
need to have with Jack.
CIP,
Yeah.
And do we have an update from Danny Jean about?
no.
How's that about?
The grants.
Grants for money we could use towards our master plan.
You find it in there?
No, I did not.
I think that was one of the missing.
I mean, the old one, the thing that says there because,
What page is that?
I don't know, that's what I was looking for, the
Oh.
one that everybody applies for that says they wanna build a private road.
When's the date to propose civil amendments?
The last hearing is always in January, how's that for a bad answer?
So then another question, didn't the town vote out the Mount Dearborn?
Yes.
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 So that's still part of our documentation.
Yeah, that's the old one still. We haven't got, yeah, I did that last.
That needs to be removed.
Put that in your notes there, Bill.
Huh?
Put that in your notes there.
Mount Dearborn.
What's that?
Keep it in notes.
Yeah, I don't think we have to put anything because it was voted out, so.
Correct, but
Right,
it
just-
needs to
we
be.
just-
We just gotta eliminate it from,
I got printed,
It's because it's Article 30A.
yeah.
So that means every other Article 30B needs to be changed to 30A.
No, we just changed 38 and just take it, put it, it was,
Article 38 deleted in 2022 when the whole thing's
right,
done.
and just leave it there, so you don't have to renumber everything after it.
Okay.
And it could be a placeholder, because we could use it again at some point.
Well, not
Right.
that, no, but otherwise, there may be plans and conversations about Article 30A, and nobody have any idea what it was about. So you hold
Right.
it for 30A, so you can at least research and find the article.
So it's not deleted, it's rescinded, or,
It's removed.
Remove, yeah, it was
but it's not,
voted.
it was not a warrant from us, it was by petition.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's right. Okay, driveways.
But didn't, so, I think we added the private road issue under our definitions.
It's not there.
It's not there because it's not been updated,
Not
but
not mine.
there was another
looking at-
one, another place that prohibited,
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Where's it prohibited? I don't remember.
and I thought I
Easier when
had
it's a
kept it.
PDF, you can search it, huh?
Yeah, it sure is. It's easier to talk to the client. See, oh, it's right here, see?
Yeah.
Got it?
No, he's
No,
being
but-
facetious. Well, what's that?
I think that fell under,
I got a question for the board, what are you guys looking at up? What do you think of the concept of detached ADUs?
AB.
What auxiliary,
Dwelling
Accessory
dwelling
dwelling
units?
unit.
yeah, dwelling unit, yeah, was that, you were from Monday
Oh.
night's meeting, was that, stirred that thought in your head?
No, I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
Granny house?
Yes,
That's not what it's called something else.
In-law apartment,
8 in-law apartment.
ADU.
ADU, exactly.
Yeah, but,
Accessory dwelling unit is what it stands for.
right, but those are popping up everywhere.
Yeah, there's only one allowed per residence.
Residence.
So that wouldn't change. It'd just be, we'd allow it by being detached instead of making it attached. It could still be attached, but would also allow them detached.
Yeah,
So if somebody's got a detached garage, they can put one overhead.
yep,
I think it's a good idea.
yeah.
You got,
No, I do. I
Oh,
think,
my son wants to do that,
I'll work on putting something together for that, for the next meeting.
so I'm gonna put that on the list, detached.
I mean, it's not a solution to the housing problem, but it
ADU,
certainly
ADU,
it
you
can't
said?
hurt.
Right. ADU, yeah.
I just went through the whole thing and I can't find it.
ADU unit, what's the?
Accessory dwelling unit.
I wrote detached, oh, you want to have it detached?
That one allow detached.
Okay, now I'm looking in this section.
Why didn't?
So it'd be held to that same
Uh,
square footage?
Look in the
Yeah, it won't change
subdivision
anything as
regulations.
far as-
That's where I
It'll
just
probably
found it.
Right now,
Under 8.1 on
requires
page
a special
18.
exception.
For private
So we'll probably
roads,
have
the
a
thing
special
here for
exception
private
A
roads,
for attached, and a special exception
arrangement of
B for
street,
detached.
subdivision.
And then-
Right, no subdivision approval shall be granted for a subdivision
area,
whose
you know,
proposed roads enter or
All that would
exit
still
upon
say the same,
des-
so it wouldn't
designated
end up
as a
something
class
different.
6 or
Well,
private
it's all
road.
septic.
No, it could,
There's
it
one of
could
them
have
there,
its
too.
own, but you could also use the house
That's what I
and
would,
existing.
everybody goes to the zoning board for variance on to get
Percentage of the rate
building
of the
permits
main
on a class 6
outbuilding?
road.
No, it's.
Well, this is for the subdivision regulations. I know, but I'm just saying, but that's,
Yeah, they're not
that's,
gonna be
it's there.
big. They're not gonna be big.
That's the only one I found. So I was just looking through the other
It's an
ones.
8 what?
Well, it's in the subdivision regulations, 8.1. It says public roadways general, but it says about doing a subdivision
Yeah, we can change that without a.
for private, class 6 or private roads, so.
Well, that's what this is,
No, there's something in here that says you can't build on a class 6 or private road.
Yeah.
And everybody goes.
I know we went through that because that was the big discussion where we had, we copied what Canaan had
Yeah.
and some of them, and, yeah, and that was a while ago. That's the only one I found, looking through, but I remember what you were talking about, I was looking for the other, anywhere I could find it.
so would the ADU be under Article,
We've got the ADUs now under special exceptions.
okay,
ADUs are listed on page 26 of the 2019 zoning ordinances.
Yeah, someplace.
Oh, look at this, right there. One accessory dwelling unit shall be permitted to a single-family dwelling residence in the residence zone in the rural agricultural zone by special exception from the ZBA. And with these further stipulations, an accessory dwelling unit shall be clearly incidental to the primary use.
what article's that?
19, 110, and 11, and 12. Because 12 says, an accessory dwelling unit shall either be constructed within or attached to a single dwelling. That's what Bruce wants to change. So you find my no building on private roads, I found
110.2,
19,
or
1,
1 and 2?
19.1.10 and
19.1.10.2 is what Bruce wants to change.
And then we have to adjust 3 also.
Yes.
It needs to be total
well,
separate.
why would you turn around and say that we're connecting door? Wouldn't you leave that there if it's attached, still attached?
I would put a thing on there saying for an attached ADU.
Yeah, so it's just modify it, that's all,
Right.
yeah. okay.
That's what I mean.
Shall be constructed
Adjust it.
within, attached, and detached.
I'll work on something there for.
I've said that for years, I was gonna work on something, it didn't happen. I've been saying that for years, I was gonna work on something, and it hasn't happened yet.
No, this is like,
Yeah, that's 20 minutes.
yeah. I think it's an important subject.
Well, a lot of reasons. I know it's not back this far. Okay. What else you got on your list?
So we got private roads, wetlands, master plan, Mount Dearborn identified, deleted and detached ADU, there's 5 things. And we'd have less than a month to do it.
Well, Mount Dearborn's nothing.
Right, but it just needs to be, so we need to find the latest digital copy of this and print it out, because this one I have is
2017.
2019.
I get one that's
We all have-
2017 and 2019.
So but there's an updated one from this.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also have,
Well, the problem is, Bill, there is no updated one.
right, but this is the subdivision regs that we worked on, and that's dated 8/14/2020.
I had that one. I remember that.
So, somewhere in, there was, and I probably have, it's probably back to those minutes from right after the thing got passed.
Yep.
If what you held up is the same thing I'm holding up, this is subdivision regulations.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know, I mean, I haven't checked to see what the update is on what the selectmen were doing with your rental agreements.
That, I've been working on it with the fire chief, the police chief, code enforcement.
Right, because I had talked to Tony on another
We-
subject, and he was going to a meeting.
We had
For
a
that.
meeting with the selectmen on Monday night, where we kind of presented our
Proposal.
latest proposal, which is dramatically different than the initial proposal. As it stands now,
That's still pending.
it's still pending, right? It's got to go to town meeting. The selectmen can't
Yep.
make that decision. They have to decide to put it on the warrant, is, they're part of the decision. But it's going to be because we got a lot of feedback from people, and I listened. But we're making it so it's any residential rental space that's subject to New Hampshire rooms and meals tax, which reduces it to rentals under 185 days a year. It eliminates relatives, because if you rent to a relative, that's not subject to rooms and meals tax.
So rooms and meals tax is under 180 days?
185 days, 185.
So if you're renting your property for someone to live there for 10 years, it's not applicable.
Correct.
But what we also have built into that, if you're gonna be doing that, your insurance company is gonna be watching that too, right?
It's
I
not,
mean, that's one of the picture, that's what first thing comes to mind. If I'm gonna rent out my property.
yeah, that's not our,
Just,
No, but I'm just saying that there's another watchdog paying attention to, my homeowner's insurance or my renter's
Well-
insurance is gonna come into conflict
Yeah, well,
if I'm not doing that.
if the people tell their insurance company what
Correct,
they're doing.
right.
and then you're gonna have to turn around and make sure that whoever you're in a long-term rental like that, if they're, say, renting it for 10 years, have their own liability insurance.
Correct,
So, yeah,
right,
so you're
right.
not,
So,
that's your watchdog.
I mean, 'cause
but
that's
we're
where
still
my,
got the same safety mechanisms in place as far as fire safety. Septic system has to be up to grade, they can't park in the street. I mean, those requirements are what we're really after, are still gonna
Right,
be
right.
there.
yeah,
It's just,
Yeah.
we narrowed the scope of it a little bit.
good.
They throw in the part about what the DES and septic and all that stuff, I'll leave that out.
That's still in there.
That's still, yeah.
So I don't know,
That's the
did
most
you
important
guys
part of
have any additional things pertaining to zoning amendments? You probably got a list at home.
Additional
next to the
things I'd like to do,
next to the
there
telephone.
are additional things I have time to do.
Have time to do.
Yeah.
Two different things.
Yes.
Yeah. There was one other one I had in mind that was relatively brief. I'll put something together on that too, for the next meeting.
Detached condos?
That's not brief.
I'm gonna put Bruce says one more.
Yep.
And then we also need to be sure that
We should research, I'll try to research that private road thing. I should have time.
Whatever got approved at the town meeting, the town clerk should have copies of, because he,
yeah, it
Any
should be,
zoning amendments.
Well, yeah, but
it
we
should
should-
be in our minutes from,
Yeah, but there's also the thing that's already in there.
correct,
That I'd prefer deleting that than deleting what we proposed a couple of years ago,
right.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, we did
But
all
the-
the
but-
research on that.
Yeah, we
other
did a lot of
one.
work.
So
On that.
technically, if we go to our website, because both those documents are there, those are the only legitimate documents
they're supposed to be.
that are,
I just looked online, it said 2019 zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep,
so
not
that
up to date.
technically hasn't been updated, because, so 2019,
I'm gonna see Maureen
I'd say
tomorrow.
2020 is when
He
we,
should have that stuff.
Yeah, she should have it. Who?
He's supposed to.
Town clerk.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna
because
see her, I'm gonna see her tomorrow. She doesn't know it, but I'm gonna see her
I
tomorrow.
know, that was one that worked on it, we actually took the copy of the one from the town of Canaan,
Couple times.
and another one, and then, also one that, Drescher threw in
Yes.
his notes with it, because I did a lot of legwork on that, worked on it with Chip. So Chip was still here at that time. And we went through it, and I think we finally got it whittled down rather, and got it done after he had left. So it was sometime, it had to be 2019 or 2019. As we-
Whatever it is, I think it's a pretty good document. We spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah,
I think
there
it's a
was
good
lot,
document.
I did spend a lot of time on that.
I'll talk to, like I said, I'll talk to Maureen tomorrow.
yeah, I think it's 2019, 2020 somewhere. in there.
Yeah.
It'd be around 2019, it was before COVID, so first time,
Oh, that's
first
right.
COVID hit, so. And Kelly was
Here.
here when we
We
did
finished
it, so
it.
it was 2019 when we took it on, when we made that.
Yeah,
amendment.
so I think it got voted on in 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah, March.
might have been.
But I should be able to get a copy from Maureen. If I do, I'll get a copy and spread it around. Without making a meeting out of it, don't reply.
Don't hit that till I do what I gotta.
No, you do first, then I
Yeah,
hit this.
that's what I mean.
Okay, go.
You gotta make
I
a
move to
motion.
adjourn.
Second.
Oh, okay. You can't
Oh, I
vote.
guess, right, I forgot, I can't vote.
Chuck held up his hand. Chuck seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hope it goes better than when he turns it on.
Yeah, me too. We'll just leave. Let him here all by himself with the lights on.
Thing will run all night.
This is the longest we've been in a while.
You missed the good old days.
My first meeting, we were here till
I don't remember.
10:30.
Chuck and I have been here